let's get another day started here. Out we go into the dark garage. We flip some lights on, close our door. Got to turn some tunes on, of course. And look, our shipment arrived. Woohoo! That came in late yesterday. Yesterday was a total wipeout. I mean, like total wipeout, like beyond total. I mean, it was like a hurricane out here, and basically meant that we can't do anything but besides empty the boat top on occasion. But we got a lot to unpack here and a little bit to do. It's calling for rain again today. That's surprise, surprise. And again tomorrow, and again the next day, and again the next day. But it's not raining right now, and they say it's going to clear up a little bit here in the afternoon, and then it's supposed to rain tonight. So we're just going to try to do what we can, like we've been doing. Well, we just got done bailing everything out. Got a little wet in here, but we got the fan going. Hopefully shortly we'll be able to do some floating and get that one all tabbed in. Do some more tabbing on that one, maybe tabbing some deck. Trying to get all the loose ends tied up today. Get this deck finished off. I really want to start seats real soon here, so just let it get dried out first. Number 15. Now we have a rabbit and a duck. Hello, Mr. Bunny Rabbit, you're new. When they come out, it must be time to be calling it a night. Wasn't a whole lot to film today because it was kind of like the same old. We did refloat the decks. It hasn't gone off. This is one of the things about the U.S. composites material, is the fact that it does take longer to go off, and it's uniform. It doesn't matter whether it's in bright sunlight or in just 60-degree weather, it tends to go off the same way. So it's not ready to go off yet, so we're stuck there. But we did do our one coat, so we're good with that. Tomorrow we'll resand and probably do one more, maybe, I don't know. We also got our motor mounts in. 99%, there's one little spot I want to fix on the bottom of it, but I need to grind all the crap out of the bottom of the bilge. It's caught every bit of like splatter and everything else over the last months. So yeah, we're gonna have to clean that out too along the way, but I'll fix that one tiny little spot on that motor mount when I get to that point. In the process also, we found another 9 screw holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 9, that we basically had to grind out, fill with fiberglass, let that set off, sand them out, and now we got 2 coats of Rage body putty on them. That way it's caught up to the rest, because as I said, we went around and we did some touch-ups, and we're still going to have to resand some areas anyway, so these little spots won't really matter at this point, but they would have after they were already painted when they popped back through. Trying to keep an eye on everything. I mean, this deck is beat to hell, but you know, anything that we see we're getting, but it's probably going to take at least a washing out of once or twice before we catch everything. So that's where we're at. Tomorrow I'd like to refloat the rear panels again, and maybe get the plywood out of my truck I've had in there for days to start the seats. And once the seats are started, yeah, we're moving. But for now, we're calling it a night. See ya. Got to work slow down due to a skittish little deer that came in for some lunch. She's a new one. She'll get used to us in a little while. But I don't really think she wants to hear the pass load go off. So we'll give her a few minutes to munch out while we take a little break ourselves. Alright, we're moving right along here. We got prototype number 1. We of course went over to the master here and figured out what sizes of everything it needed to be, and then we just made ourselves a nice little box. It's a little rough. It's going to be a little tough to get in too. Like I said, I'm probably just going to end up doing marks and maybe some drilled holes or such, just to be able to identify where things go. And it may not even get installed until after the actual top is taken off. So we'll figure this out as we go. But as for now, I still need to build another one. And on top of that, they all have to be fiberglassed up. And a lot of that can be done right here in the driveway. It doesn't have to be upside down in the middle of the yard or anything like that. So I'm going to take a 5-minute break here, and I guess it's time to start building the second one in reverse. And here we are on another late evening. We floated our decks twice today. Actually got it to kick off, and then we sanded it, and then we refloated it. That was great. Still a little tacky right now, so we're not messing with it. That's it with the poly. No more poly. After this, it'll be the rage, and that'll be it. Because it's almost mirror finish now. I'm just wasting poly, to be honest, to keep going over it. And in the process, went down the bilge, like we were talking about earlier. The bilge was a real mess, and I ground it out all the way back to the transom. And being that 4x4 was laying in there before, it did some damage back and forth. So what I did is I fixed all the damage, and I put it in a layer of 1.5 ounce chop strand, just to clean everything up from front to back. About 6 or 8 inches up on both sides, just to, you know, fill in where the 4x4 was, and clean that area up. It still looks like hell, but of course, you know, paint fixes everything. And of course, the stars of the day are these guys. They are the back seats. And earlier I was in the 19, and of course we've been dodging rainstorms all day. This is actually, I had the 19 open and this boat open at the same time, doing measurements off of one and on the other for these seats. And of course the skies open up on us. You know, it was only a 10-minute rain, but you know, last thing you want in a nice dry boat is to get it all wet and then put a top on it. So it's been the luck all day. I think this was the 3rd or 4th rainstorm we had today, so we've actually made a lot of progress, considering our seats are actually made. They have to go in later in that sense, but they still need to be all fiberglassed up. I just actually started to do a tiny bit of the tabbing just to get them locked in. They're only kind of glued together and put together with some small finishing nails here and there. And yeah, I didn't want them falling apart after we started grabbing a hold of them and moving around a little bit. So I did a little tabbing tonight. Tomorrow we'll start laying some glass on them. I'll pretty much leave, I mean, I'll tab up all around here, you know, but I'm going to leave the back. The existing fiberglass comes down to about here as it is. So there's only going to be so much to actually fix. So it's just really, we're going to get the seat done, we're going to get the backs done, all that good stuff. But being it's 8:15, we ain't getting anything else done tonight. So see you tomorrow. And just like that, we're into another day. Left my boxes out here overnight, didn't get rained on. That's all a good plus. I've come to the conclusion I'm not really big on these extra pieces on the side here. I think I'm going to go with something like this. It's a half round, basically. I think I'm going to file them right off. put this half round on it. It's a little too jagged, a little too rough, and the half round will work perfectly. And I also need to be able to run it up the back here at some point and across the whole deck itself, because that's the part that's missing along here, which actually gives it some rigidity, and also where the lid comes in, it locks basically over this nub right here, so it doesn't want to move around and bounce all over the place. So I'm going to need some more half round to do that, and it'll keep it all kind of consistent. Really easy to work with too, being it's already pre-made. But with that, I also have to come over here today and do some more work on our decks. Today is going to be our Rage body filler. No more poly, as I said. The bottom of the bilge turned out quite nice. Looks like we have just a tad bit of sanding to do around some edges, or maybe, and a little bit of paint, and it should be perfect, which is a plus. The interior of this boat is getting done, but to finish it, we have to get to work. Alright, ladies and germs, it was a long day, and it really doesn't look like we did a whole lot either. But to us, it's miles, miles, and miles. Getting this Rage down on the deck, that's an accomplishment. That means we've moved on to another stage. We got 2 coats down. We did a hardcore sanding, and now we've done our little bit of touch-up. That's pretty much the way it's going to stay. I can see that now. There's a couple little patches there, and this one over here, and maybe if we see some minor stuff, it is what it is. We even started to do our horseshoe around here. A little bit of sanding. As I said, the whole inside, there's a lot of little spots that have to be sanded again because they've all been touched up over time. And majority of our day has been doing the backs of these guys. They are done. Tomorrow I get to flip them over, clean them up, and start doing the fronts. And as I said, it shouldn't be as detailed as the backs were because of a lot of it's going to be covered up by this existing fiberglass here. You can see that little black line that goes across there. That's where the wood goes up to. And that piece of fiberglass existing stays, as does this little corner, and then it's all going to have to be filled in from there. But that fills in that part, and then the seat's down here, so there's only like a little section of the wood on the back that actually is going to have to be repaired. And that's it for the night. Oh, the start of another day. It's not starting off too well either. Last night about 11:30, TV started flashing. Crazy. Hurricanes, tornadoes, famine, pestilence, everything's coming your way. And it did. Whew. Good God, we had about 70-mile-an-hour winds, I think they clocked at some point, and got a hell-racious amount of rain. Here. That's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches right there. I mean, I know it collects, but you know, that's just a unscientific guess. And here's an example. That's a maple leaf, or part of a maple tree stuck in my pine tree. There's some more maple leaves up there. Lost a few branches. 2 boat tops. 2 boat tops. And of course, this one survives. I've had this top. It was actually on my 19 years ago. And I did some work to it. I got a couple spots on it, you know, and just over winter time I got a wild hair, and I went ahead and bought another top and put this one away. Well, we've been using this on every construction job we've been doing for years. I think it's covered up the Biesmeyer. I think it covered up a couple Donzis. I think it covered up a couple Monzas. It's still intact. The race boat top? No, it's got a hole. The VZ top, it actually had a stick sticking right out of it. I mean, it's just done. So today, we got to finish cleaning up because there's a lot to clean up, and then we'll get started. But no, this is not the way we want to start a day. And there goes another day, just like that. Not a whole lot to talk about in there. Just got it nice and dried out. Did strap it down tonight. I'm not coming out here in the middle of the night for another thunderstorm in my socks. No, no. Today, again, the star of the day is the back seats. And got 4 layers on everything, inside and out. Well, on the back side we did 1 layer, but we did actually 3 layers. I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches up on both sides. We did 3 layers across all the seam areas, you know, this side all the way back across there, on the back side alone. And then we did 4 layers on the front everywhere where it's going to actually, like I said before, this is existing fiberglass here, so we're not going to really know where it comes up until it does. And yeah, we're moving right along here. We even went ahead and cut our pieces, so this is what we're talking about using a half round for. We'll be putting that in like so, and then of course we'll glass over top of that, and that'll leave a nice little nub, and eventually it'll end up going right up the back. But at the moment it's only going to be able to do the seat until the actual interior of the boat is fixed. But that's where we're at tonight. Lots of fiberglassing, lots of fiberglassing, lots of fiberglassing. I think we're on gallon number, I'd like to say 18. I'm afraid to say 19, but it looks like we're real close to 19. So, more tomorrow. Starting another day here, and of course it's with grinding and sanding. Shocker, but it's got to be done. I don't know how people actually go over top of glass that they've already put down and it's kicked off. I always have hairs and little things, and I just can't go over it without grinding it down, so of course I did. And now we've gone ahead with a Cavasil layer just to smooth everything out. And from here, I'll probably be using a little Rage Bondo to clear up some ends. I want to get the majority of these seats done out here in the driveway. I mean, there's no reason to do it in the boat and just create another huge mess that is even harder to clean up. So, I mean, out here in the driveway, a little air, boof, off it goes into the grass. Everything is inert, so it doesn't hurt nothing. I have well water, as I said. I wouldn't be putting anything on my ground I'd be worried about drinking in the future. So, yeah, we're letting these guys kick off in the sun. It's a beautiful day. Not too humid, not too hot, not too cold, not too wet. So yeah, we're gonna let these guys kick off, and then I think I'm gonna go in here in the boat here shortly, and I'm gonna attempt to try to take out the wood that's behind here. I don't know if I'm actually gonna get the seats in or not before we pull the top off, but I do want to actually make sure they fit perfectly. And as I said before we even started the project, I'd like to drill some holes in the backs through the fiberglass, have them bolted up in place. Worst case scenario, when the boat's out, we can actually put the bolts back in and the pieces will be, or the seats will be exactly where they should be. But it's time to do some more work. We had to do something different for a little while. The fiberglassing was getting on my nerves. So I decided, the sun was going down, it was about 7 o'clock, started to cool off real nice. Thought no better time to sand a deck, so at least I'm not, you know, sun isn't right there instead of the moon like it is. Then we, of course, worked on the seats, and here they are. Of course, it's taken forever. I mean, first you have to epoxy on this piece, let it set up, then come back, fill it, let it set up, sand it, come back, another glass layer on top of that, kind of feather it out a little bit, another glass layer on top of that, feather it out. Yeah, it's just eating up a lot of time, and it's not a whole lot of progress, but it's getting to the point where tomorrow I'll be just using some rage on it to do the bottom half. I'm not even going to worry about the backs, as I said, until it's actually installed, because there will be new fiberglass going all the way down to the bottom again. Another thing I did while I had downtime between fiberglassing was I got all the wood out from the back here. Just did it the old-fashioned way with a machete. Yes, I used a machete and a hammer. Just split the two apart and just started pulling chunks out. But all the wood's going there. That's part of my whole thing about thinking of, you know, do I really need to pull the top deck off? And something we got to look forward to is what's underneath of this tarp. Yes, the front deck. To be honest with you, I'm having second thoughts about pulling the top off. I'm afraid Allmand may have glued this thing together, in which case, if they did, I'd probably end up doing more damage to the gunnels than it would be worth taking off. Now, I can fix the rear deck. I've already kind of got that going. It'd be a pain, but I think I could fix it. It all comes down to the front deck. Now, I've been underneath of this thing limited. I just discovered the 3 holes in the front, the screw holes, just a couple days ago. I've had this thing for months. So, yeah, I mean, I pretty much haven't even looked under this tarp myself. It's a mystery to me, because I have just been, you know, there's other things to do, then why worry about what's over there? We've got something right in front of us, and if I had downtime, yeah, I would say, okay, then it's time to go do some exploring. But the downtime has been pouring down rain, so it's not really time to go out and do any exploring. Off to another day. But we have did... What's up, duckies? Can you focus once? Gonna get Bondo. Let's do this again. See if I can hold on here. Nah, let's do this again. We had these. I'll do it again. Storm, storm, storm. Head for low ground. Yeah. Let the car pass. See if I can speak. Okay. Let's see if we can put both of them together at one time. Let it kick off and then come back and put another layer off. Yeah, start all over again. First minute of this video is useless. We had to do something a little different for a little while. And then we'll turn back around.